Hey, Teddy here. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is that back in February 2014, Matt Brunet, aka Animat, creator of Animation Look Back at Animat's Reviews, has finally answered one of my questions. Which in this case, I finally got to ask Animat whether or not he has ever thought about doing either a top 10 next best animated sequels, a top 10 best Disney sequels, or a top 10 worst animated sequels. Well, Animat did say to me that he would love to do a top 10 worst animated sequels, but it requires him to watch all the movies. However, I'm surprised that he didn't put any thoughts about whether or not he would ever do either a top 10 next best animated sequels or a top 10 best Disney sequels, because looking back at his top 10 best animated sequels, there are some actually good. There are some animated sequels that are surprisingly good that Animat forgot to include looking back at it. Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that moment for episode 2 of Teddy's Reviews. Anyways, I just want to say, Animat, if you're watching this, I just want to thank you, man, for answering one of my questions. I really want to be social with you. Anyways, the bad news I have to bring up is, we've lost a couple of good celebs. The first three people that come in mind, who sadly passed away this year are Jew Wario, Robin Williams, and Bob Hoskins. And for those who don't know who Jew Wario is an internet reviewer who is a part of the guyoftheglasses.com. For those who don't know what that guyoftheglasses.com is, it's basically the same website that brings you to web shows like The Nostalgia Critic, Bum Reviews, Nostalgia Chick, Atop the Fourth Wall, Shameful Sequels, and many others. And I will admit, when I first heard the news that Jew Wario passed away on Facebook, I was like shocked. I will admit, if you guys want to know whether or not I've watched his videos, yes. I've watched some episodes of the You Can't Cook This, and I did watch one episode of You Can Play This, which in this case, you guys remember the one in which Jew Wario teaches us viewers how to be able to play Japanese Famicom games on an American Nintendo Entertainment System. Anyways, I watched that episode. Anyways, and also, if you guys want to hear what my thoughts on Bob Hoskins, and for those who don't know who Bob Hoskins is an actor who's best known for playing Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Mr. Smee in both Hook and in Neverland, and also he played one of the dwarfs in Snow White and the Huntsman. He also even voiced Winston in Garfield: The Tale of Two Kitties, which I still enjoyed, whether you guys believe it or not. And he also even voiced Boris in Balto. And I will admit, it's really sad to see a great man like Bob Hoskins pass away. And look, people, even without Bob Hoskins, Disney can still do a good Roger Rabbit sequel. I'm not trying to say he did a bad job as Eddie Valiant. Don't get me wrong, I will admit he did a great job with Eddie Valiant. However, I mean, when it comes to making a good Roger Rabbit sequel, whether or not Disney is able to bring back Bob Hoskins to reprise his role as Eddie Valiant shouldn't really matter. What should matter more on making a good Roger Rabbit sequel is basically they're required to have more and more cameos than how its predecessor have. Think of like what you guys would see coming out of Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, rather than what you guys would see coming out of Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two. For those who don't know what I mean, allow me to explain. In Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, they both had more and more characters appearing than how the original Super Smash Bros. Had. While Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, on the other hand, had less and less new characters. So much so that Animatic could not do the Epic Mickey Files whatsoever, but instead had to do a second season of the Epic Mickey Files. Not only that, but also Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two had to fail both critically and financially. Thus, this is where Junction Point would then close down, and thus we will not be getting an Epic Mickey 3 whatsoever, unfortunately. Anyways, my first, and, anyways, yeah, and as for Robin Williams, when I first heard the news that Robin Williams passed away, I was shocked. And whether you guys believe it or not, I have blamed the death of Robin Williams on my former social worker and a certain kid at my past school. I'm not gonna say who though. Anyways, yeah, I will admit, since Robin Williams is dead, now we will never be able to see him reprise his role as the voice of the genie in any of the Kingdom Hearts games whatsoever. Not even Kingdom Hearts 3. Besides, we never got to see Robin Williams reprise his role in any of the Kingdom Hearts games whatsoever, and sadly we never will be. Here's why he never got to reprise his role as a genie in any of the Kingdom Hearts games whatsoever. I don't blame Disney for that. It's just that, well, back in 1999, when Bicentennial Man was released back in 1999, it bombed at the box office. Thus, this is the moment where Robin Williams did have to refuse to reprise his role. Anyways, if you guys want to know what are my thoughts on Dan Castellaneta as the genie and Jim Meskimen as the genie, well, Dan Castellaneta, he's okay. I wouldn't necessarily call him a good genie. Don't get me wrong, people. It's not that I hate Dan Castellaneta. Don't get me wrong, though. I will admit I do like him in The Simpsons. I will admit, and as for Jim Meskimen, I will admit, as far as I'm hearing him voice genie, I will admit he definitely does as good as Robin Williams, I will admit. And so yeah. And the other bad news that I have to bring up is, I just want to say to you people that in case if you guys have been waiting too long for the first episode of Teddy's Reviews to come out, I do apologize for taking too long in working on the first episode of Teddy's Reviews. And if you guys want to know when will it come out, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. All I can say for right now is soon. And also, another thing I need to address to you people is, look, I know how much you guys enjoyed, most of you people enjoyed my videos that I did through Spark. But keep in mind, people, whether you guys like my videos, whether you like the videos that I did at Spark or not, keep in mind, the reviews that I do through Sparking TV, keep in mind that the reviews that I do through Sparking TV is non-canon. If you guys are looking for an absolute canon review, just all I ask you people is please wait patiently. It's all I ask you people. I'm not joking, people. For Teddy's Reviews, there's an absolute canon and a non-canon. Not only does Teddy's Reviews has that, but also Epic Battles as well. And if you guys ask me what makes a certain aspect of Epic Battles canon, that would be, of course, anything that comes from either myself, JC, Doctor, or any of the movies would be considered absolute canon. And if you guys ask me what makes it non-canon, keep in mind that, well, sorry if I say this, people, but keep in mind any story idea that involves name changing will be declared non-canon. I'm sorry if I say that, people, but it is what it is. And why, you guys may ask me? Well, the reason I've declared all name-changing ideas to be considered non-canon is not just because due to the fact that sometimes I can be running out of original ideas when it comes to being creative, but also the fact that it defeats the point of crossover. Anyways, and speaking of which, I've got some more good news. If you're an Epic Battles fan and you have a Facebook page, I did, however, create an Epic Battles fan group on Facebook. And before I get any confusions kicked in, and no, people, this is not referring to epic rap battles of history whatsoever. However, if you guys want to bring up anything else that isn't epic battles related, you guys are only allowed to bring up anything animation related, video games related, comic books related, or Star Wars related. And when I say you guys are allowed to bring up anything animation related, you guys can talk about you guys are allowed to bring up any animated movies, any animated TV shows, any animated shorts, and you guys are you like. And also, you guys are also allowed, if you guys want to bring up any animes, that's fine with me. And if you guys want to bring up any adult cartoons like South Park, Robot Chicken, Fritz the Cat, or anything like that, that's totally fine with me. And also, if you guys want to bring up some of the worst animated movies or worst things in animation you guys ever seen, like the Gravenians, Food Fight, or anything like that, then that's totally fine with me. And also, you guys, if there's a certain motion capture movie you guys like to bring up, like The Polar Express, Beowulf, Monster House, Christmas Carol, Marcy's Moms, or The Adventures of Tintin, that's totally fine with me. And when I say you guys are allowed to talk about anything animation related, and yes, people, this also includes websites that talks about animation, like Animation Look Back. If you guys talk about, this also includes Animation Look Back, Animats Reviews. If you guys want to bring up animation review shows like Animation Look Back, Animats Reviews, Huey's Animated Movie Reviews, Cartoon Palooza, Animated Analysis, Real versus Real, or the Cartoon Hero, or anything like that, then that's totally fine with me. And when I say you guys are allowed to bring up anything video games related, not only does that include games released on either console, not only are you guys allowed to bring in console games and handheld games, but also you guys are welcome to bring up any PC games, and you guys are also allowed to bring up any arcade games as well. And you guys are also allowed to bring up games based on movies. You guys are allowed to bring up games based on TV shows. You guys are also allowed to bring up games based on books, or even games based on comic books. And you guys are also allowed to bring up TV cartoons based on video games, like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, the Super Mario Bros. 3 TV series, the Super Mario World Show, The Legend of Zelda, Captain and the Game Master, any of those TV shows you guys are all, or even any of the crappy Ruby Spears cartoons. And also, you guys are also allowed to bring up any of the movies based on video games, like Wreck-It Ralph, the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and also, if there's a certain video game review show you guys would like to bring up, like The Angry Video Game Nerd, The Happy Video Game Nerd, VG Retro, Sonic Guru, Angry Joe, or anything like that, then that's totally fine with me. And also, when I say you guys are allowed to bring up anything comic books related, and yes, not only does that include anything from American comic book companies like Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, or Image, but also you guys are also allowed to bring up children's books as well, like those are written by Dr. Seuss, Bear St. Bears, and Arthur. And you guys are also even allowed to bring up any of the TV cartoons based on comic books and children's books. That's totally fine with me. You guys are also allowed to bring up, if you guys want to, you guys are also allowed to bring up movies based on comic books or children's books. It can be live action, computer animated, or hand drawn. Anyways, you guys are also allowed to bring up video games based on comic books. And if you guys want to bring up any comic book review shows like Atop the Fourth Wall, or a graphic novel picture show, that's totally fine with me. And when I say you guys are allowed to bring up anything Star Wars related, you not only will you guys be allowed to talk about all 6 movies, both the originals and the prequels, but also you guys are also allowed to bring up any expanded universe material. So you guys are allowed to bring up Star Wars The Clone Wars, you guys are allowed to bring up Star Wars Clone Wars, you guys are allowed to bring up Star Wars Rebels, you guys are also even allowed to bring up the Star Wars Holiday Special, as well as any of the games, or even any of the novels. And you guys are also, and if you guys want to bring up any of the crossovers featuring the Star Wars universe, like Soul Calibur 4, Feasting from Star Wars, the Family Guy Star Wars episodes, or even the Robot Chicken Star Wars episodes, that's totally fine with me. And also, if you guys want to bring up if there's any news based off of Star Wars Episode 7 or anything like that, I'm happy to hear. And if you guys want to bring up Star Wars Episode 7, that's fine with me. And if you guys want to bring up Star Wars Headquarters, that's also fine with me as well. And if you guys want to bring up the Nostalgia Critics Top 11 Good Things from the Star Wars Prequels Countdown, that's totally fine with me. And so yeah, that's all I have to say, and I do apologize to you people for taking too long in working on the first episode of today's reviews. All you guys have to do is please wait patiently, is all I ask you people. I just want to say to you people, keep waiting for Teddy's reviews, and may the Force be with you, and live long and prosper.